Hi, this is Belinda Colubriale, and this is Talking High Performance with Belle. So I'm making this podcast for people who want to live their best life, people who know that there's more in them, but they just don't know how to get it. So there's a gap, something's missing, I'm making it for them.
Want to win? Then don't be afraid to fail. You will never win if you're afraid to fail. You'll never get to where you want to be. Hi everyone, it's Belle, and today I want to talk about a topic that's really important for anyone striving for success: the relationship between failure and winning. One of the biggest obstacles I had to overcome when starting this business was a lack of confidence. And I know it may seem strange, as I'd run a business before, but this one was different. I was the face of this one. I couldn't hide behind a banner, and I didn't have a team. And there were and still are millions of coaches to compete with, of which the majority fail within 3 years to make this their full-time job. It's scary. My previous ventures had teams, structures, and other faces that shared the spotlight. This time it was just me, and every success or failure felt much more personal, and the fear of not measuring up or failing publicly was daunting. What would others think when they saw me on Instagram? What if I posted something wrong? But I eventually came to realize that if I was going to move forward, I needed to recognize that failures and learnings are all part of the process, just like when I first started in my optical businesses. But there were two main things that helped me overcome this and helped me to move forward. The first one was committing to showing up consistently and courageously. I had to commit to this, and it meant showing up day in and day out, even when I saw no progress, or when it felt slow, or when inquiries weren't coming in. There were days when it seemed like I was taking a big break, nothing was happening, I couldn't create content, or I was creating content that no one cared about. But I knew deep down that consistency was key. And it's not just about repetition, it's about building trust and credibility. So every video posted, every social post, every email was laying the bricks and laying the foundations for what I wanted to be an amazing business moving forward. And I was thinking about it like planting seeds. You don't see the sprouts immediately, but with care, with patience, they eventually grow. And every day that I showed up, I knew I was closer to my goals and closer to the outcome that I wanted. So that was the first thing I had to do. I had to show up courageously and consistently. The second one was being courageous in stretching myself out of my comfort zone, which meant that uncomfortable was a good thing. It meant that when others said no, I had to say yes, and I had to stretch my thinking and my feeling. And in the early days, I had to push myself to try new things. I had to put myself in situations that felt risky, even going to networking events, whether it was speaking to potential clients over Zoom, sharing personal stories. Each of them felt daunting, and it felt like a leap into the unknown. But I know that I had to stay true, and I had to show up, and I had to practice what I preached. Being courageous isn't about the absence of fear. Being courageous means taking action despite fear. And I myself had to remind myself to do this. And every time we do this, we're showing more and more signs of personal growth. And for myself, it meant pushing myself out of my comfort zone and expanding my horizons. And there was a moment when I remember I was invited to speak at a breakfast, and public speaking was something that terrified me. But this day I had my notes in my hand, and when I got called up, I decided to leave them at the table. And I felt my heart racing and doubt creeping, but I thought, I'm going to remember why I started this journey. I started this journey to help other people, and I was sharing my postnatal experience and my experience as a mum. So I left the notes on the table, and I just went up and did the talk. And just the power that I felt afterwards, I can remember it now. It was amazing. And this was me living beyond fear. As individuals, we live beyond fear a lot of days, and sometimes we think about them and sometimes we don't. And I believe that the ultimate strength often lies in our ability to live a life beyond fear. This means entering a space where we feel free from thoughts that hold us back, free from the thoughts of others, and free from things that could hinder our future progress. And there are countless things that we can be afraid of. But when we talk high performance and we coach high performance living, there are 4 fears that we need to overcome: the fear of regret, the fear of responsibility, the fear of rejection, and the fear of failure. And I want to break these down and discuss with you today how to overcome them. When we talk about the fear of regret, this can hold us back from taking action and reaching our full potential. We may be afraid of making the wrong decision or missing an opportunity, and this can prevent us from stepping out of our comfort zone. So how do you overcome this? You recognize that it's impossible to always make perfect decisions, but make the best decision at the time with the information that you have. Trust in your abilities. So if you think about your life, when was a time that you regretted something that had happened? And how did this help you move forward and get closer to your goals? The second one is fear of responsibility. Another common fear that many of us face. We avoid taking on big challenges because we're afraid of the weight of the responsibility that comes with that. What if we looked at responsibility instead as an essential part of growth? With high-performing individuals, they understand that responsibility is the key to reaching that next level. So think about your life. In which area are you shying away from a challenge due to the fear of the extra responsibility that it holds? How can you embrace it instead as an opportunity to learn and grow? Third one is the fear of rejection. This is universal and causes us to hold back from pursuing our desires. What will other people think? Will we be good enough? And we need to accept here that not every opportunity will work out and not everyone will agree with us. And that's completely okay. So think of an experience that you were rejected on or where you felt rejected, and think about how looking at it a different way, it's helped you moving forward. That's the third one. And the fourth one is fear of failure. This is where we get stuck in our comfort zone and we talk about a life that we want without really reaching our full potential. And it's a natural part of the learning process. Here we need to take action towards our goals and be willing to adapt when necessary. We need to embrace failure as an opportunity to learn and grow. So think of a time where the fear of failure has held you back, personally or professionally. And I want you to think about what are 2 steps you could have done at that time in order to move you forward. Because it's when we can recognize the fears and what's holding us back that we can really move forward and live that high performance life where we feel purposeful, successful, and where we're bringing the right energy. So I want to give you 3 ways today to help overcome that fear. When you're feeling fearful, do it anyway. When you're afraid of failing, do it anyway. Measure the risk, assess the worst case scenario, and jump in. High performers act despite feeling fearful. The second way is to think about what would the older version of you say to yourself at the moment? What advice would you give? And the third one is to reframe your story. Change the narrative you tell yourself about failure. Instead, see it as a positive experience. View it as a learning opportunity. Be consistent in how you show up. One of the biggest keys to success is consistency. So next time you feel the fear of failure holding you back, think about what the best version of yourself would do. I hope that was helpful. Until next time, live a purposeful, successful, and fully charged life. Your coach, Belle.